Hey everyone, I'm Brent Skarkey from the State Chamber. It's an election year, and we're excited to kick off a brand new interview series on OklahomaDecides.com. The site, the best way to stay up to date with the latest candidate developments in our state. The State Chamber's Chad Warmington going one-on-one with statewide office candidates to give the business community and Oklahomans a great look at what the men and women who are running for office are all about. The interview does not constitute an endorsement from the State Chamber. It's just a place where they can be heard and voters can learn more.
We're excited to have Representative Kevin West here. Kevin, thanks for coming in to spend some time with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'm going to give a little bio on Kevin. Kevin's running for Labor Commissioner, but Kevin has represented Oklahoma House District 54 since 2016, and he currently chairs the Oversight Committee and the Conference Committee on Government Oversight. Kevin's a small business owner. He has owned and operated a cabinet shop in Oklahoma City, and now he's seeking, like I said before, the office of Labor Commissioner to continue to serve the state. So thank you for being here, and thank you for stepping up and being willing to serve some more.
Yes, and thank you for doing this. I think this will be really helpful for all the members, to get to hear from the candidates on these offices.
Amen. Thank you for saying that. We're excited, and I think our members are excited. I'm going to start you off with a big question. And I think it'll be easy for you, but give us kind of your vision for Oklahoma and why seeking this Labor Commissioner office can help you articulate and execute on that vision.
Yeah. Well, I'm lifelong Oklahoman, born and raised here, and just deeply love the state. And whenever I first ran for office as state representative, it was with that in mind, to just represent my district and try to leave the state better than what I found it. As far as Labor Commissioner, with my background in construction, I've dealt with the department on the job site safety stuff, the workplace safety, so I know that very well. And when you really get to looking at the Labor Commissioner, it's pretty broad what you can do. So a lot of the things that I'm really wanting to focus on and what my vision is to just promote the great things that Oklahoma has going for it. We have a great workforce, and we need to work on developing the skilled workers. But things like that are what really drive me, and what I want the whole nation to be able to look and see, Oklahoma's got things going.
Yeah, I think I love that vision, and I think you picked up on it. I think we can be known as a state that you come to because of our quality workforce. I think we already are. I think our people are productive. We have a high work ethic. But I think, to your point, if we can lean into making sure that we're skilling them up in the right way, it's such an economic advantage for us. And is that part of your mission as well?
Yes, absolutely. I've seen businesses in my lifetime that have started up here in Oklahoma and then quickly become number one in the nation or the world in quality and production and things like that. And I think that's a testament to the workers that we have, and then it took the investment to train them in that specific area, but once they have that, the sky's the limit, and I want to shout that from the rooftop.
Amen. Yeah, we'll help you shout it. We're for your deal. So I want to pivot a little bit. You've heard us talking about our new initiative, which we call Oklahoma Competes. Mm-hmm. And essentially what we're thinking about is a new way for us to look at our state's competitiveness, both regionally, and nationally. So give me your view on how does the Labor Commissioner and that office contribute to Oklahoma's long-term economic competitiveness?
Yeah, well, one of the primary purposes of the Labor Commissioner is to promote, foster, and develop the welfare of the wage earners in this state. So for me, that is far-reaching. That gets into the development, the skills development, and so those are a lot of the things that I really want to do. That's a lot of what my platform is getting that work-based training, getting that done, started in high schools through the VOTEX, and letting these kids get exposure to that. When I was in school, I was exposed to woodworking in the 6th grade, and that became a passion for me. And because that was a passion, I saw that, I need to learn the math or these other subjects. So now I'm wanting to learn that. So I think if we can start building some of those kind of things, and then, like I said, just the promotion, letting the businesses know what is available, listening to them, what are things that we need to do to help with that training, whether that's through internships or apprenticeships or skills training specific for areas. All of those things are things that the labor commissioner can and should be a champion for, and recruiting people to come in. We've got groups that are working in the apprenticeship fields in many of our public schools. We need hundreds more of those, and so recruiting people to do those kind of programs and getting them connected with the schools, I think, is one of the primary things that it's a secondary thing for the labor commissioner, but it is part of what their role should be.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear you say that. I know from our work studying Oklahoma's economy and some of the research that we've done, where Oklahoma really lags in national rankings is access to apprenticeships and internships.
Yep.
And I love, you are a perfect example. Now I'm going to use you as the example that we talk about all the time. The data says if you can give a kid, a student, experience and get them just even one day of experiential learning, it unlocks all of a sudden, it makes the education process they're going through make sense. To your point, you said it well. Once I realized that I really loved woodworking and I could see a future in that, I knew that I needed to get better at math. And now all of a sudden, your education makes sense. And it really is an area that we think we could work with the Labor Commission and others of increasing those opportunities. It sounds like you are on board with that and would love to be a part of that.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that I've seen in some of my research around that are the top 10 states that have student participation in work-based training. Surprisingly, 9 of them rank in the top 25 in education outcomes.
There you go.
And the one that doesn't is in the high 30s.
There you go.
So I think there's a direct correlation there, and something that we could lean into, and it's not going to cost money to do it, and it's going to pay great dividends.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love that your research is showing that, because it matches with what we see as well. And I know, in your current job, you're going to be talking a lot about educational outcomes this upcoming session, and I love that in the job you're running for, you also have the perspective that, tying those opportunities, internships, externships to workforce outcomes, huge upside for Oklahoma.
Oh, huge.
So tell me from your perspective, I want to kind of get your personal perspective on how you define free enterprise. So what does that mean to you? And then also kind of how does, where do you think the government needs to be drawing the line between setting fair rules and getting in the way of markets? And that could be really, just your general view, or how do you see that being executed in your role as labor commissioner?
Yeah, well, what I see the free market is, the opportunities are out there, and if there are barriers to that, then we need to take a look at it. Is the barrier there for a good reason, or is it just there to be a barrier? So, identifying that and then making those decisions so that business can do what they need to do. Now, as far as the safety and all of that, that can never take a back seat, because if workers are getting hurt, then we're losing production.
Right.
And it's not just, a cold thing like that. It truly is, the workers are what make everything happen.
Yeah.
So, being able to just have those kind of things open, and then you apply the rules fairly and uniformly across the board.
Yeah, that's the tough balance that you get to try to execute as a labor commissioner. Is we've got to make sure we're protecting workers and protecting safety. And a fine line between overregulating and underregulating.
Yeah.
And so I loved your perspective on that. And I think it's a very important role still in society today. It's funny, you specifically already nailed my next question. So I'll tell you what it was, but how should this office be shaping and contributing to the development of Oklahoma's workforce? I mean, you nailed that already. And I'm really glad to see that you are willing to lean in, and although it may not be a clearly defined role now, there's a huge opportunity for it. And Oklahoma can lead the way if we get some of these things right.
Absolutely. And even within, just the everyday, the have-tos, what I call them, of the labor commissioner, which is all about workplace safety, inspections, licensing, things like that. If you're doing that uniformly and across the board, and you're doing it in a way that you're teaching before you fine, things like that, just it helps not only the workers, but it also helps the employers as well.
Yeah. You can really help them accomplish both goals, being super productive and being safe. And I think we have a history of that in Oklahoma. We care a great deal about that, and due to large part to the work of the Labor Commission. And so,
to that point, I think Commissioner Costello, his Safety Pays initiative that he was working on, I think that really brought highlight to the business world that, hey, we can do it safely, and it's going to benefit the workers, but it's also going to benefit us because we can reduce our costs on liability insurance and all kinds of stuff.
That's right. The Labor Commissioner and the department enforce wage and hour laws in Oklahoma. So interesting to get your take on upcoming state question 832. It's on the ballot. It's a minimum wage increase. It's not just a minimum wage increase. It also ties future wage increases to the CPI index. Give us your take on that.
Well, I'm 100% against that initiative. In and of itself, just raising the minimum wage, that would be one thing. I mean, in my area, in Moore, most of the McDonald's are starting off $14-15 an hour, so the market can absorb some of that.
Right.
But I will say with that, when you drive through a fast food restaurant, usually the first thing they ask is, are you using the mobile app? And if you go in, there's kiosks, so they're already kind of transitioning. I don't think a lot of people realize that. But to me, the real killer in that, like I said, that's bad enough, but the real killer is tying that to the national inflation index, which nobody would have any control over. It would be just on automatic pilot, and it's going to do nothing but just go up and up and up, which is going to really hurt, especially the small businesses.
Yeah, and that's our concern. I think you articulated it well. The market has spoken, and the market wage is much higher than the minimum wage. And we've done some research. I think it's 99% of all wage earners in the state of Oklahoma are already making more than minimum, because you wouldn't be able to hire if you were. And what we're really concerned about is what you articulated, and I'm glad you did. Small businesses and rural businesses and agriculture businesses would be particularly impacted by that, which is why we've been partnering with the Farm Bureau on trying to raise awareness of that. So as you're traveling around the state, are you getting a sense of, kind of what Oklahomans think about that?
I think once it gets explained, just on the surface, people are like, oh, well, yeah, I want my kid to be able to make a little more money per hour. But when you explain what those ramifications really mean, they start going, oh, I hadn't thought about it in that light. So I think the message is getting out, but we have to keep hammering that this isn't just a one-time deal. This is going to be something that's going to put us on a trajectory that is unsustainable.
That's right. Yeah, very, very well stated. Well, as we wrap up, what is a question I haven't asked that I should have? What's one thing you're like, hey, I want to make sure, our members and the folks that'll be watching this, that they need to know about you running for this race that we didn't cover?
Well, I think one thing, you know me from my 10 years of service. I try to look at things as a big picture, and then hone in on the things that that we need to work on. And that's what I'm going to bring as the next labor commissioner, because what we need somebody who, A, has the experience. I've worked on those job sites. I've worked with those safety coordinators, and I've signed a paycheck on the front side and I've signed the back. And I think those experiences make a huge difference. But having the focus to follow through, and that's another thing that I bring. I've ran a lot of major pieces of legislation, and it's not always easy. People think, oh, this is Oklahoma, reddest state in the union, but it still takes work to get the other reps and senators on board. And those are the things that I really want to do. I've never shied away from the hard work. Whenever I first decided to run for office, it was exactly that. I felt like it was laid on my heart. Are you going to roll up your sleeves and do something, or just sit back and complain? And my whole entire life I've been a worker, so I'm not afraid of that, and I look forward to being that person for the state of Oklahoma that bridges some of those gaps and makes some of those connections.
Yeah, well, that's a perfect way to end right there. I want to thank you for your willingness to serve now in your current role. Thank you for stepping up and serving the legislature, and thank you for being willing to serve in this role as well and put your name on the ballot and get out there and get your message out. It takes a lot. Public service takes a lot of time away from your family and from your friends, and thank you for being willing to do it.
It truly does, and I'm blessed. My wife, my family are 100% behind me, and they're a huge support in all of this, and couldn't do it without them for sure.
Good that you ended on making sure that they got the love too. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chad.